Welcome back to the channel for another video on our 22 WRX. Today I got a free mod for everyone. What this mod is going to do is going to help lower your intake temperature. So when you have lower intake temps, you're going to make a little bit more power. So let me show you what we're going to be looking at under the hood. So looking at the engine, we have our intake over here. The intake goes down into the turbo. On our turbo inlet, there is two coolant lines that go into that, into the turbo inlet. So that turbo inlet, it's aluminum, so it connects to the turbo. I think it's kind of good that those lines do go there because, the turbo does get hot, and I'm sure that heat transfers to that inlet, and the coolant does help, cool off the turbo indirectly by having the coolant down there through the turbo inlet. But once the air goes into the turbo, it goes into the front mount, comes around, and then goes back into the throttle body. So if you look back here, where we hooked up our two AOS lines here, you see on the IAG AOS, this line right here that we installed, this goes to the bottom crossover tube. And this line, the second line right here, this goes to the bottom of the throttle body. And this is the inlet for the factory hose. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be removing the coolant that goes to the throttle body. So the theory behind this is that after the hot air goes out of the turbo and goes into the front mount and cools down to a colder temp, when it goes right back into the throttle body, the throttle body is getting 200 degrees coolant, heating it up. So it's kind of ruining the cool charged air that we just got from our nice front mount that we have from ETS. So by removing both of those lines, we're going to be lowering the intake manifold temperature. I do think that leaving the coolant lines on the turbo inlet is still beneficial for the stock setup. If the lines are already there, I think indirectly it is kind of cooling the turbo off because the turbo is significantly hotter than the coolant that's in the engine. So it is kind of indirectly cooling off the inlet, which is cooling off the compressor. So I'll just leave that stuff alone. But the throttle body coolant lines, I definitely think this is a worthwhile free little mod that we can do right here. So all that we're basically going to do is take the bottom hose off, the IAG hose that we have here, and then we're going to remove this hose completely. And I'll show you guys in just a sec once I get a light, but it's right down here is the connection. So you can just pull that off, and we should be able to just put the IAG hose right over there. And this still could be a free mod for someone that doesn't have an IAG AOS. If you had one of the connectors, you can just literally remove both of the lines and then tee them together, and it would be the same thing. That's basically what we're doing, but we're just bypassing the stock line here and just going straight to the source on the back of the block over here. And just to get a better look, you can see the clip right here. Get my finger out, it'll focus. So that's the clip that we're going to be pinching and then pulling this hose off. And we're just going to be connecting this hose right here to that spot right there. So let me get you guys set up and we'll get this swapped out real quick. All right, we just got this top hose off. And just a little bit came out. I just have this just one of those shop rags there, and just a couple dribbles came out, really nothing. Don't have the line pinched or anything, so one more connection and we'll have this stock line off. So kind of rushed on that last one. When I took that off, coolant actually started coming up out of that one. So definitely had to rush to kind of take that hose off on the bottom of the throttle body and then just hook it up to the bottom port on the back of the block. So you can see here, I got the hose routed down straight to the block. I still need to get the little clamp on, but if you look underneath, we did spill a little bit of coolant. So we'll clean that up once we're done, but just got to get that clamp put on right there, and then we'll basically be all set. So now there's no coolant that goes to the throttle body, so the throttle body's not going to get heated up. I mean, coolant is like 200 degrees, so this is not going to get 200 degree coolant running through it anymore. It's just going to get the cool charge air going directly into the throttle body. And I was thinking about it before, so this is our map sensor. So this also tells us the temperature of the intake manifold. So with the throttle body getting so hot, like 200 degree coolant going through it, and then our map sensor is right here, and that is reading like temperature inside the intake manifold. So I definitely think this is going to be a worthwhile mod. After I do this, I'm going to go for a quick drive, and I'm going to see what the access port shows as far as intake manifold temps. I know there's no way to actually like prove if it actually went down or not, because it is like a different temp than like the last couple times I've driven. So hard to really tell, but definitely without 200 degree coolant going to the throttle body, it's definitely going to be cooler. So let's get this wrapped up real quick and finish this up. All right, we are all wrapped up. So this is how I have the hose routed. It just goes under our clutch line there, and it just goes directly into the back port on the block. And then this port just is the OEM connection with the AOS, and that goes right into the bottom of the crossover tube. So the only two open fittings is, you can see this one here and that one down there. That's the inlet and outlet for the coolant for the throttle body. So like I said before, we're going to get cooler intake temps without getting the coolant running through the throttle body. That about wraps this one up. Quick little free mod, especially if you have the IAG AOS, you can just install it this way instead. If you don't have an AOS, I mean, just take the top mount off. You might just need a T connector, and you can just connect or take the two off the throttle body, connect those together, same result. But that's all I got for you guys on this one. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more 2022 WRX content. Until next time, see you guys.